The road to corporate America is wide, but very few have the courage, grit, and fortitude to set out on their own as a business owner. The beauty of the franchise model is that you're not on your own. In franchising, we always hear about the stats: 4,000 brands, 1 in 4 businesses, 30% year over year. But what about the people? The people that left the security of their 9 to 5 corporate job. They left steady raises, PTO, retirement plan, manage their own time, and stake a claim on their own future. Welcome to Untold Franchise Stories. I'm Carey Gille, your host and the CEO of Franchise FastLane. I've always had an entrepreneurial mindset and have been in the franchising industry for over 20 years now, both as an executive and as a franchisee myself. But Untold Franchisee Stories isn't about me. I am not the hero of this story. The heroes here are ordinary individuals, and they finally did something about it by choosing the entrepreneurial path through franchising. Listen in and always remember this insight from Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're exactly right. So I'm very excited to introduce you to Brittany. Brittany, is it Mustybrook? Did I say it right? In San Diego, sunny San Diego. I'm very jealous. We have no sun here, so I would trade you positions today. So thank you so much, first of all, Brittany, for your service, as I know you're a veteran, and I want to hear about that. And we do see many veterans consider franchising as the next step. I don't know that we see many go from military service to dance. So I'm really excited to hear about your journey. But before you talk specifically about Tippi Toes, give us more background on just how you found franchising. So what brought you from serving our country, thank you, to considering business ownership through franchising? What was that journey?
Absolutely. I spent 11 years in the Army. So, I enlisted at age 17 and then became an officer eventually, and then eventually exited the military and started my transition out in 2023. So, last May. Um, and it's very, very overwhelming, that process. I wasn't really anticipating it. I thought, I've got a degree from a great school. I have all this leadership experience and all of these incredible soft skills. But I didn't really have any hard skills to offer to the table. I didn't know what career I wanted to go to. I thought I wanted to be a doctor and then a dentist and then a pilot. And I tried every single one of those things, and nothing was clicking for me. And so I was getting really frustrated, um, and just kind of bummed out. But it is a part of the process. But my boyfriend, and actually co-owner of Tippi Toes, he actually asked me a really interesting question, and he said, "Brittany, what would you do for a living if nobody knew what you did for a living?" And that was a really eye-opening question for me, because I had, for so long, I had done this military career based off of my evaluations and getting promotions and, on to the next job. So when he asked me that, I just said, dance. I would dance. Um, but then I said, but I can't make any money dancing. And he said, well, why don't you just go part time teach and just kind of see where it takes you? So a little background about my dance is I've actually danced since I was age 3. So it's awesome because my customers now are me when I was 3. Um, and so yeah, I started part-time dance teaching. Meanwhile, I actually had a corporate job at the time as well. But I was just doing the dance stuff on the side, and it really just kind of got my gears going. And I just did a simple Google search: what would it take to become a dance studio owner? And that's when Tippi Toes actually popped up. It was one of the first links that came up. And so I clicked that, and I started watching all of the videos of Sarah and Megan and them on Shark Tank. And I started to learn a little bit more about Tippi Toes just through my own research. So I really found them organically. And then I just filled out their little contact us inquiry on their website. And that's kind of what got the conversations going. And it was at that point, I think, that they had just paired with Franchise Fastlane. So I got connected with Dana and Tom, and we were starting that whole process. So that's kind of what got me there. It was a very unexpected process, but it's been a very beautiful journey so far.
Brittany, your story's different, and I love to hear it. And that's why these conversations are so fun, because you don't really talk to people that say, "I majored in franchising in college," or "I learned about franchising," right? They usually fall into it in one way or another, and I think we are making great strides in now impacting at the education level, but it didn't used to be that way. So usually when I'm talking to franchisees, what I find is somebody got interested in franchising and then they explored many, many, many brands to see what could be their fit. Your journey is so different. It's I loved dance and I was struggling to find my career identity, if you will, but I knew what I loved and I found I could do what I love through franchising, which is so incredible. And you had to have been so surprised because you had to be thinking, okay, if I'm going to open a dance studio, brick and mortar, sign a lease, build out. Can you talk a little bit about how Tippy Toes business model is so different and why that was so attractive?
Absolutely. So, I mean, clearly from my background that I just explained, I had no experience with business whatsoever. No one in my family is a business owner. Um, and I've had this sort of structure my whole life. So when people talked about before, opening their own business or being an entrepreneur, that was terrifying to me because I've always had my military paycheck, my medical benefits, and I was like, I don't even know how you start something like that. So when I reached out to the Tippy Toes team and started those conversations with Dana, things just started to become more real and it felt more attainable. I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. And it really started to mimic my experience in the military. There's SOPs, standard operating procedures, there's regulations, there's steps. And that's also what I really loved about the process with Franchise Fastlane that we walked through were all of the steps. Now we're looking at the FDD, now you're getting on the validation call. So having that checklist, if you will, and I could just be like, okay, here's where I'm at now, check. I mean, because that's what we do in the military. We're given orders, we're given commands from our commanders, and it's your it's your duty to execute that. And the really cool thing too about franchising is that I have that model, but I can also make it my own. I'm my business owner. And so that also really mimics the military as well, because when you're a commander, when you're a platoon leader, a company commander, you get your orders from your higher ups, and then you're expected to execute and how that looks for your unit. So there's just so many, I think, great things that translated from the military to franchising. And I finally felt like, oh my gosh, I can use all of these soft skills that I have and be a business owner, and finally kind of take control of my life while still doing my passion. So that was awesome.
That isn't even where my head was when I asked that question. So thank you for that enlightenment because I really hadn't thought about the correlation between military and franchising. And that's what franchising is looking for is people that know how to follow a process but also make it their own, right? Can follow a model but also make it their own. And you're talking about the correlation and how that just translated so well from your military experience to what you are today. I think another thing that's so interesting to me about Tippy Toes is, again, I think dance studio, everybody goes, oh, this is going to be so expensive. I have to go sign a lease and now I have a personal guarantee and all of that. But it's different with Tippy Toes, correct? You do not have a studio.
Right, right. And that was very attractive to me because that's less overhead for me. So it was a little less intimidating. And B, you get to reach more customers, which is incredible. I mean, with a normal dance studio, brick and mortar, which is what I grew up going to, and they're fantastic. But you have, your neighborhood of people that are attending that dance studio. And so here, now that, we cover a territory of 200,000 people in amazing San Diego, we can reach all of these schools. So we actually have a territory here in Chula Vista, and then we've also expanded a little bit into Coronado as well, so we can reach our military families on the military bases. So we actually have our first demo class there next month, and that's just it's all of my dreams coming together, right? It's like my past and my future coming together into one. So it's just really awesome to see that play out.
So cool. So you take the classes to them, is that right? You go into the preschools, you go into the schools and into the setting, and you bring the teaching and you bring the environment to the students there. And how old are the kids?
So, right now we are focusing on our preschools and daycares. So, we have ages 2 to 6, and they're absolutely adorable. We have our recital coming up, so we've been delivering our costumes to the schools and just getting the photos from the families. Just and how excited they are to see their little one on stage. And this is the first time these little ones in their whole little lives will be on stage, the first time ever. So it's really exciting for all the families. And yeah, I remember my time as a little one doing that and how much joy it brought my family to go to these things. So I'm really excited to give that back to my community. Yeah.
Such a meaningful brand. I love child enrichment brands. We have a couple of them, and there's just something about it because your impact is generational. I mean, obviously, you're impacting the parents because think of that pride that's exuding in them as they see their little one learning and following instruction, but also those little kids and what you're doing there. It's really, really remarkable. Talk about a day in the life. What does it look like to be a Tippy Toes owner? What fills your day? Are you doing this in addition to another job on the side? Is this your full time focus? And what does it look like balancing it all?
Yeah. So I actually went into purchasing Tippy Toes using the executive model. So immediately going in and hiring a manager to work side by side with me. And that was because at the time I did have a corporate job. Um, but I just, Tippy Toes was really filling my cup with just joy and happiness. And I wasn't getting that from my other job. And I just wanted to put all of my efforts into this because it's something that I really believed in. And yeah, so I mean, day in the life, I guess I'm not teaching any classes, but we do go observe our teachers that are teaching in the schools. So me or my manager will drop in and make sure that our instructors have everything they need. The lesson plans are being executed, everything looks good. Um, right now is very recital focused. So we're doing a lot of costume deliveries, costume exchanges, just getting ready for recital in general, getting our venue squared away, our photographer. So it's really fun because you're building up to this awesome event. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think I'm really blessed with my manager because we've developed such an incredible relationship where it's awesome seeing her fall in love with Tippy Toes as much as I do. And so yeah, it's been great. We've really balanced each other out and just have a great working relationship. So
I love it. And congratulations to you. That's a big step. I'm going to go focus on what I love and leave the corporate job behind. But important to fill your cup. That's what you said. One was filling my cup and one was not. I also want to congratulate you on working with Dana, getting approved. I think that Megan and Sarah are quite selective about the franchisees that they want to represent their brand around the country. And so even being awarded a franchise with Tippy Toes, I think is a big deal. Dana loves the brand, as you know. She's a franchisee herself. In fact, she just added, I think, another territory last week. Yeah. So good for her. Can you talk a little bit about Megan and Sarah and the support that you feel from corporate? How do they contribute still, even after you sign the paperwork? How do you still feel a part of the system?
So Sarah and Megan are awesome from the beginning. It just felt truly like a family to me. I think they've really done such an incredible job at creating the Tippy Toes family, right? We're not just a business, but we are a family and we are a network of very strong, like-minded individuals, and they continue to maintain that. From before signing for the franchise and after. And so, let's see, I think I went for my confirmation day. And that's when I first met Sarah and Megan, and they were just so warm, so welcoming, wanted to know about me, who I was, where I came from. They really wanted to get to know me on a personal level. And that's something that I really appreciated. And just seeing the way that they interact with, the rest of their corporate team and how they treat them and they speak to them and they uplift them was incredible. And then, even now, we're in April, so I've been a franchise owner now for I think 4 months, and I still get texts from Sarah, and she's like, "You're doing amazing. I watched you on the validation call. I love watching you. I'm so proud of you." So, um, having that sort of support, especially as an adult, you're like, you don't really get that a
No, you
lot,
don't. Right,
especially
right.
from your
No, no. The
CEO.
adult world's not full of that.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's been really, really nice to have them as a part of my family now.
They're so genuine. They're very genuine. And I think what I heard is you have direct access to your founders. You said you're getting text messages, so you have her number too, which is great because as the brand grows, it's really incredible to see founders that stay so committed. And they think the same of you. I want to read. We reached out to them, told them I got to talk to you today. And I want to read what they said about you. So this came straight from Sarah. Again, two incredible female founders and just boss leaders here. They're just remarkable. But she said of you, when I think of the ideal franchise owner, I think of Brittany. She is charismatic, engaging, hardworking, and extremely purposeful. She has been part of our franchise family for less than a year, but she's already making a tremendous impact. She is obviously just bursting with pride in the system she's building and the fact that you're part of it. When we signed Tippi Toes, I mean, I love seeing another female just leader out there in you, in these founders here. And she sent me her book. And I mean, it was such a great read. I enjoyed getting to know her a little bit. And I think what you have in those founders is, like you said, it's just genuine when you showed up.
I think just trusting in your own abilities and, even if you don't have the hard skills, and because that's where I found it difficult for me to take the leap. I thought, I don't have an MBA, I don't have any business experience. And so just trusting in the soft skills that you have and that you've built through your life, your hard work, your dedication, your leadership, discipline, I mean, those things alone can take you a very long way, I think, in business.
It is. It's so true. It's so true. That grit that's just so necessary to be a franchisee. I really like that. One of our core values in the fast lane is be gritty, be hungry, bring it. And that is, it's just different. It's not about, like you said, it's not about the degree, it's not about a diploma, it's not about curriculum. It's about the determination and the belief and confidence in what you can accomplish. So that was great advice. Brittany, thank you so much for giving us a glimpse into your incredible untold franchisee story. Major congratulations on your success.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here today. Thank you, Carrie.